The big blocks are still here at the Autodrome Drummond for night number 2 on a Tuesday.
Tim Sears Jr. rim riding on the top off turn number 4. He'll come by looking to get the top spot. He does with a 17.968. Coming by as well, Marcus Dinkins will sneak through. As this next group, Matt Shepard still at the top. Jan Boussier fourth quick. He'll come by second time around. Still fourth quick for Boussier. Sebastian Grosjean to the top with a 17.872. Daniel Johnson sixth quick with an 18.285. And Marcus Dinkins 14th quick with a 19.348. But Spider-Man throwing out the web and grabbing quick time with a 17.872. Up through turn number 1 and 2 for the first time. It'll be Tim Sears Jr. with the race lead as they head down the back straightaway. Alex Payne sitting in that number 2 spot, but here's Jack Lehner looking to the inside through turn number 3 and 4, looking for the runner-up position. They'll drag race down the front straightaway as Sears is your leader, but here is Lehner to the inside of the 78, looking to make it stick off turn number 2. They're side by side as they head down the back straightaway. Give the spot to the Benson's Pet Center. Car number 2 as Jack Lehner moves into the runner-up position. 6 are in, 2 remain. For the driver of the 83X is Tim Sears Jr. continues to lead this one. Dalton Slack holding on to that 5th and final transfer position right now. Darren Smith trying to close the gap on him as they go into turn number 3 and 4, but we come to the white flag this time by. The 83X machine of Sears going to bring him down into turn number 3 and 4 as they bring him off the corner. Checkered flag is going to be out. Tim Sears Jr. will win heat race number 1. Anthony Perrego getting a really good jump into turn number 1 and 2. They're 3 wide back there for spot number 4 as Larry White was the meat in the middle of a Mike Mahaney and Corbin Miller sandwich in the early going, but the car to keep an eye on is the 98H of Jimmy Phelps. Phelps rolls the bottom of the racing surface trying to get by the 35 of Racine going into turn number 1 and 2, and they'll take that spot away. Right now, 2 guys who had a little misfortune last night are sitting in the top 2 spots here in heat race number 2 as they'll roll down into turn number 3 and 4. Perrego, your leader. Phelps up to second. Perrego continues to lead as they come to the white flag, this time by 1 lap to go for the driver of the 4-star of Anthony Perrego. Perrego going to bring him up through turn number 1 and 2. Jimmy Phelps right there about 5 car lengths off the back deck. Well, he was through the corner as they bring him down the back straightaway for the final time. Checkered flag is going to be out. The Roosters waving it. Anthony Perrego will win heat race number 2 and bounce back from last night. Coming across the line, second is going to be Jimmy Phelps. Finishing third is William Racine. Fourth is going to be Mike Mahaney, and rounding out the top 5 is Mike Troutsold. Field's going to roll through turn number 1 and 2. Spider-Man will take off down the back straightaway as he has the race lead. Keep an eye on the battle for that final redraw spot, though, as here in the early going, here's the one of David Hebert up on the top side. Right on the back bumper of Felix Waugh as they come around and click off lap number 1. White flag out on the speedway. One more trip around for Felix Waugh as they make their way down off turn number 2 for the final time. They'll work down into turn number 3 and 4. Checkered flag is going to come out. Heat number 3 is going Hollywood as Felix Waugh picks up the victory. Heading to the redraw will be Grosjean. David Hebert will finish in 3rd. Eric Rudolph 4th. And the doctor, Danny Johnson, will round out the top 5. Working up into turn number 1 and 2. Matt Shepard has the advantage, and now we got a battle for second shaping up quickly, but keep an eye behind them. Brianna Ladouceur getting a good run, getting past both LePom and Steve Bernard. LePom going to come right back on the bottom as they battle for spot number 7 down the front straightaway. It'll be Ladouceur holding on as they roll up into turn number 1 and 2. 1 lap to go for the driver of the 9S machine, as Matt Shepard leads this one down the back straightaway, rolling down into turn number 1 and 2. And now we'll make his way through 3 and 4 for the final time. Checkered flag is out. Matt Shepard wins heat race number 4. Field will roll up into turn number 1 and 2. That is Darren Smith with the lead as they head down the back straightaway. 3 wide for spot number 3 as they head down into turn number 3 and 4 as Claire Perron and Mario Claire go at it for position off turn number 4. Matthew Desjardins on the bottom will take the number 3 spot away. He is 1 spot out of a transfer position as he goes back to work on Corbin Miller through turn number 1 and 2. It'll be the white flag out on the speedway. One more trip around. Autodrome Drummond this time for the driver of the 12 of Darren Smith as he brings him down the front straightaway. Miller still there, a half a straightaway behind. Desjardins running out of time as he is just under a second behind the 66M as they roll down the back straightaway. Final time heading down into turn number 3 and 4. Checkered flag is going to be out. Darren Smith will pick up the win in last chance showdown number 1. Field will work off at turn number 2 as we go green down the back straightaway. Steve Bernard going to have the race lead as they head down into turn number 3 and 4. The 66X going to roll to the bottom of the racing surface as they're side by side, but it's going to be Bernard leading lap number 1. Take a look at this side-by-side battle for spot number 3 behind him as well as Bernard and Terrance fight for position. Brianna Lattisore and Jeffrey LaPalme go at it as well down the back straightaway. They'll come to the white flag this time by 1 lap to go for the Robert Bernard tires. Car number 54 machine as Steve Bernard continues to bring them up into turn number 1 and 2. The 66X of Terrance smoothly into that number 2 spot as they head down the back straightaway. Final time down through turn number 3 and 4. Give the win in last chance showdown number 2 to the 54 of the Cowboys, Steve Bernard. Terrance will join him in the feature. Provencher will finish in third. Fourth, Jeffrey LaPalme.
You have the upper hand. How do you see things play out?
We'll see. They did some track work. Hopefully grooves and we can put on a good show for all these fans.
All right, Tim, best of luck.
Yes, sir. Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, a shower of big block power is about to send a shockwave through Quebec. It's King of the North, night number 2, and we are green at Autodrome Drummond. Working up through turn number 1 and 2. Timmer will have the race lead down the back straightaway, but Anthony Perrego going to go side by side with Jack Lehner as they roll down through turn number 3 and 4. The Ant-Man rocking the bottom as Sears leads lap number 1, but Perrego already up to that number 2 spot as he rolls down on the bottom side of the racing surface. So it's Sears, your leader, Perrego in second. Sebastian Gaujon and Felix Waugh starting to lurk behind the 2 of Jack Lehner as they head down into turn number 3 and 4. Perrego with a head of steam off the corner, though, as they come down the front straightaway as Gaujon working his way past Jack Lehner on the inside lane. He'll take over the number 3 spot. So both Anthony Perrego and Sebastian Gaujon making passes on the inside lane here in the early going of this feature event as they roll down into turn number 3 and 4. Couple of laps in the books as they put lap number 3 up on the board with Tim Sears Jr. as your race leader. They'll roll up into turn number 1 and 2. It's still Sears right now with about a 6/10 of a second lead. Is Alex Payne going to work to the inside now of Jack Lehner? Lehner on the top side of Sitting Duck. Battle for second starting to heat up, though, in front of them is Sebastian Gaujon. We got Spider-Man versus the Ant-Man up into turn number 2 this time as the 2 will battle it down the back straightaway. They'll work down into turn number 3 and 4. Perrego up top. Here's Gaujon on the bottom. Perrego looked like he pushed just a little bit, but he gathers it back up off turn number 4. Gaujon at the line. Looks like he may have the position, but no, it's Perrego by 19/1000ths of a second. Perrego going to keep his momentum rolling on the top side of the racetrack as they head down the back straightaway. We're 5 laps into King of the North finale as they'll bring him off turn number 3 and 4 this time. Perrego turns the wick up on the outside lane. Gaujon on the inside as Perrego now goes to the bottom as they go into turn number 1 and 2 to shut the door. So it's Sears, your leader, Perrego in second, third, Sebastian Gaujon, fourth. The 78 of Alex Payne, Jack Lehner rounds out the top 5. David Hebert already up to spot number 6 from his 11th starting position. Jimmy Phelps working on the inside lane along with Jan Fusier, and Matt Williamson starting to work his way up through the field. He's 1 spot out of a top 10 run here in the early going. He started back in spot number 13. So Williamson picking up a couple of positions early as now you're watching Felix Waugh go at it with that Shepard through turn number 3 and 4. Shepard on the bottom, Waugh up on the top side. That's for spot number 7 as Waugh holds the spot. Waugh not going to stop there, however. He goes way up to the top, looking to get some bite off turn number 2 as he'll try to close in on the 1 of David Hebert down the back straightaway. Slower traffic about to be dead ahead of your leaders as they come off of turn number 1 and 2 this time, but you're keeping an eye on Felix Waugh, who's trying to chase down the 1 of David Hebert. Hebert with a run to the inside, trying to get by Jack Lehner off turn number 2. Not able to get there, though, as we are 10 laps into this time by as Tim Sears Jr. comes across the line. Here's the battle for second once again as Sebastian Gaujon going to roll to the outside lane up in turn number 1 and 2. Gaujon up top going to carry his momentum. He'll get by Perrego off the corner. Sebastian Gaujon now moving up into spot number 2. Alex Payne looking to follow on the outside lane as they bring him around turn number 3 and 4. Payne easily going to get around the 4 of Anthony Perrego as the 70A machine already up to that spot, but he'll bobble over the banking quickly, gather it back up, and he'll keep it going. The 78 flirting with disaster that time as we get a car up over the banking in turn number 1 and 2. It's the defending winner of this event, Mike Mahaney. He'll come back over, though, and blend in with the rest of the field. But right now, with 12 laps complete, Mahaney going to lose a number of positions as that last lap, he's going to drop all the way back to spot number 19, or rather, it's going to be 23rd after running 13th on the grid. Jack Lehner and David Hebert continuing their battle for position as they look to chase down Felix Waugh, who's up into the top 5. Waugh has gotten around both of them as they roll off turn number 2 as Sears starts to work through lap traffic. Jack Lehner working on Matt Shepard as Shepard going to the top side. David Hebert in front of them trying to work together as you're seeing split screen right now on Dirt Vision. Tim Sears Jr. working through lap traffic, and you got the battle for the number 5 spot behind them as Felix Waugh tries to hold off David Hebert. Cars together off turn number 4 in front of your leader as William Racine and Kerry Torrance come together. That brings yellow on the speedway for the first time 15 laps into this 75 lap feature event. Sears will reassume control as they bring him off turn number 2 as we got a 2-car battle for the number 2 spot. Alex Payne is stuck by Sebastian Grosjean on the bottom for the runner-up position as they head down into turn number 3 and 4. 3 wide just outside the top 5. Felix Waugh has the spot. Perrego right there along with David Hebert as they head down into turn number 1 and 2. Perrego trying to hold off Shepard for the number 5 spot as they roll off the corner. It's going to be Perrego holding on to the position. The race down into turn number 3 and 4 as Perrego tries to go to the top to get by Felix Waugh on the outside lane as well. They'll close into about 2 car lengths as they head up into turn number 1 and 2 once again. Waugh trying the bottom of the racing surface, but Perrego gets a monstrous run off turn number 2 to pull even as they head down into turn number 3 and 4. And Steve Bernard, who was flirting with the top side, goes off the banking in turn number 2. He'll go back to the tail of the field, so Bernard losing all of his momentum as we continue to watch the battle for spot number 4. Perrego going to go back to fourth as now Matt Shepard going to look to follow, but yellow flag is out on the speedway as Bernard came around on the inside lane and slowed, and that'll bring out the caution for the second time with 20 laps complete here in King of the North Night 2. Grosjean trying to get by Alex Payne, but it's going to be the 78 with the number 2 spot down the back straightaway. Matt Shepard getting the best restart out of everybody, though, going from 6th to 4th in just 4 corners as he'll take the number 4 spot away, but he battles down on the bottom as the 91 machine of Waugh on the inside lane trying to come back on the bottom. Here's Waugh trying to match Matt Shepard off turn number 2, but Shepard too strong on the outside lane as the Herlock Auto and Speed Supply 9S car looks like he may have found something underneath that 9S off the restart. He'll power down to the outside lane. Grosjean on the top as well. David Hebert looking to follow Jimmy Phelps right on the outside lane as well as Phelps back up to the number 8 spot as he roars down off of turn number 2. Phelps trying to get by the 1 of David Hebert is now Matt Shepard going to make a move for the number 3 position on the inside lane of Sebastian Grosjean off turn number 4. Shepard not able to get there as we've hit the 1/3 mark of this feature event. 25 and 50 remain for the driver of the 83X. Meanwhile, car slowing in turn number 3 and 4. That is the driver of the 27 junior of Daniel Johnson. And that brings yellow on the speedway now once again as Tim Sears Jr. continues to lead this one, but Daniel Johnson going to be the reason for the caution. Matt Shepard dives to the bottom looking for the number 2 spot as they go up into turn number 1 and 2, but Alex Payne will hold them off for the time being. Felix Waugh trying to work back into the top 5, trying to work with Jimmy Phelps side by side as they head down into turn number 3 and 4, but the battle for second is going to be Alex Payne holding on to the position as they head up into turn number 1 and 2. Tim Sears Jr. continues to lead this one, almost 3 wide for spot number 4 through turn number 2 as Felix Waugh, Jimmy Phelps, and Sebastian Grosjean fought for position, and it's going to be Jimmy Phelps taking the number 4 spot away as he shoots back up to the top side off turn number 4. So Jimmy Phelps with 45 laps to go, make it 44 this time by up to that number 4 spot as he tries to chase Matt Shepard in the standings as they work down the back straightaway. It's all Timmer out in front as he continues to lead this one. Sitting in that number 2 spot is the 70A of Alex Payne. 3rd, Matt Shepard. 4th right now, Jimmy Phelps. Sebastian Grosjean rounding out your top 5 as they roll into turn number 1 and 2. Grosjean, the only car on the bottom of the racetrack as they bring him through turn number 2. As you see David Hebert and Danny Johnson down the back straightaway. The doctor up to spot number 8 He continues to work his way up through the field, and he started back in spot number 19. So Danny Johnson continuing to work his way up, and Matt Williamson picking up 3 spots on that last restart as well. He's back up into the top 10 as he sits in 10th. David Hebert starting to reel in the 91 of Felix Wall as they head down into turn number 3 and 4. Hebert using that line that Timmer was using last night, diamonding the corner, entering high in 3 and coming down to the inside off of turn number 4. We'll see if he does it in turn number 2 as well. He does it, but he gets a monstrous run down the back straightaway. The Doctor holding on to spot number 8 as Tim Seegers Jr. leads this one. Alex Payne right now just over a second behind the 83X car as traffic going to start being at the end of the straightaway for Tim Seegers Jr. As you see, he's opened it up to about a half a straightaway advantage over the 70A of Alex Payne. Alex Payne got a great run that time, though, off turn number 4. That Nardozzi Paving and Construction car number 70A machine. He closed the gap down to 0.8 of a second when they crossed the start-finish line last time by. Timmer out in front. Alex Payne, 3-time winner at the Land of Legends Raceway in 2024, continuing to ride the top side. Timmer trying to go back to that line he ran last night as they continue to approach slower traffic. Meanwhile, trouble for Perego. Anthony Perego slows on the back straightaway. And I do believe from looking here, that's going to be a left rear flat tire on the 4-star car. Up into turn number 1 and 2, Matt Shepard trying to stay to the inside lane. Jimmy Phelps through the middle trying to get by, but Shepard takes off down the back straightaway. He'll look for the number 2 spot on Alex Payne. Shepard trying to pull a slider, backs out of it last second, but Alex Payne gets into the outside wall. Here comes Shepard to the inside. They'll take the number 2 spot away. Matt Shepard takes second. Here comes Phelps to the inside now. Jimmy Phelps had third for just a second. Knows that ahead to the number 2 spot. But it's Shepard that takes over second, and what a restart by the driver of the 9S machine. So Shepard up to spot number 2. 33 laps to go for Tim Seegers Jr., who's led this one since lap number 1. As they work down the back straightaway, Shepard behind by 1.2 seconds the last time, as we got a side-by-side battle developing behind them. That's for spot number 4, Sebastian Gaujean and the 1 of David Hebert going at it down the front stretch. It's Hebert cracking the top 5 now as he'll try to go to work on Jimmy Phelps off turn number 2. Hebert not able to get there that time as the Baldwinsville Bandit continues to roll as Dalton Slack goes over the banking in turn number 2. He will come to a stop, and that brings yellow out on the speedway once again with 44 laps complete. 44 complete, 31 laps to go as Dalton Slack got over the banking in turn number 2 to bring out the caution once again. And he's going to stay on the racetrack and join the tail end of the field as the pace truck going to come out of turn number 4 and pick up the field. And Rich Fleck, we've talked about it. You talked about it a little bit earlier. Matt Shepard knowing exactly where to go in this situation, and right there on that restart, it worked as he has now moved up into the runner-up spot for the first time tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, I'm keeping an eye. It might just be a tear-off that's dragging off the back of the left rear shock on the 83X of Tim Seegers Jr. Doesn't seem to be a problem, but there is just something shiny reflecting off the back of his race car. But yeah, I think this is exactly what Shepard wants to see. Those guys that put the 400 right front on their car, they had kind of grinded up the very edge of it to make sure that they were good, and then had a little harder compound, and they're now in rows 1 and 2 on the outside. And the guy running a very different line, but it has continually moved forward, is in spot number 5, the 1 of David Hebert, able to move up just about a spot or 2 on each one of these restarts. And the great Canadian champion that was pretty close to winning on night number 2, of course, got into Matt Shepard. And I'll tell you what, Shepard hasn't forgot about that one yet. So things could get interesting if those 2 cars manifest themselves up for the race lead.
White flag has been displayed to the field. Next time by, we'll go back to green flag racing. 29 laps to go in tonight's feature event, as we'll go back to green flag racing next time by. Tim Seegers Jr. has led all 46 laps of this event, but he's got a new dance partner to his outside, and that is the 10-time defending Super Dirt Car Series champion Matt Shepard, who is hungrier than he's ever been for a Super Dirt Car Series victory. As they bring him through turn number 3 and 4, Timmer on the inside, Matt Shepard on the outside, green flag back out onto the speedway as we're back to green. Up into turn number 1, Matt Shepard going to try the same move on the inside. Timmer up on the top, going to have the advantage, though, as he rolls down the back straightaway. Shepard chasing him down into turn number 3 and 4. He'll go to the top, seeing if he can find any bite past the 83X. Shepard all over him as they come down the front straightaway. Shepard goes a lane lower as they head into turn number 1 and 2. The 9S trying to pull the slide job, but Timmer too strong to the challenge as the 83X will hold on to the race lead. Shepard going to come right back at him as they head down into turn number 3 and 4. Behind them, David Hebert working up to the inside of Alex Payne for spot number 4 as they come down the front straightaway. They're wheel-to-wheel going up into turn number 1 and 2. Jimmy Phelps sees his chance. He goes to the inside of Matt Shepard, but couldn't get the momentum he needed off turn number 2 as they head down the back straightaway. Some great battles in the top 5 as they roll down into turn number 3 and 4. Once again, the top 4 all the way up on the top side of the racetrack as lap 50 goes on the board. 50 are in, 25 remain. We will go green flag laps the rest of the way through this 75-lap feature event. Timmer has the lead down into turn number 3 and 4. The 9S machine in second as he's going to stay up on the top. Timmer going to try something on the low side as they head down the front straightaway with 24 laps to go. Shepard trying to stay in his tracks off turn number 2. Not able to do it that time as Timmer pulled away down the back straightaway. Sears, your leader, as you're watching the one of David Hebert try to close in on the 78 car as Sears brings it down this time to put lap number 52 up on the board. Sears that time lost a little bit of the deficit between himself and Matt Shepard as Shepard closed in on the apex of the corner. Here's Shepard going to try to make another bid down into turn number 3 and 4. Shepard trying to build his momentum on the top of the racetrack as they come by this time. It'll be 22 laps to go. Shepard all over him down on the bottom, just trying to make whatever he can work. Shepard looked like he got a little loose in the middle of the corner, and that allows Timmer to pull away for a split second down the back straightaway. A battle down into turn number 3 and 4 as Shepard giving chase off the corner. They head down the front straightaway once again. It's all Tim Sears Jr., but the great equalizer not too far away as lap traffic is at the other end of the back straightaway for Tim Sears Jr. as next time by, it'll be 20 laps to go for the driver out of Hastings, New York. Matt Shepard continues to give chase on the top of the racetrack as Timmer running that diamond line he ran last night. Borrego goes off the top of the banking in turn number 2. We'll see if he keeps going as they head down the back straightaway. Yellow going to come out, and that will bring the caution out with 20 laps to go as Borrego hopping the banking in turn number 2. Shepard going to take underneath the 83X as they go into turn number 1 and 2. This time he'll stay with them as they head down the back straightaway. Alex Payne back up to number 3 spot behind him. Here's Shepard trying to slide job. Timmer knew it was coming. Here comes the 83X on the bottom. What a crossover move by Tim Sears Jr. Read it like a book going into turn number 1 and 2. The 9S trying to stay with him that time, but Timmer has the advantage down the back straightaway. He works his way down into turn number 3 and 4 once again. Shepard going to go right back to the top of the racetrack to see if he can find a long way around to the 83X as they put 57 on the board this time by. 18 laps to go as Shepard tries to slide up in front of him. Almost gets into the 83X on turn 2, but Timmer keeps his foot in it down the backstretch as he continues to hold on to the lead. Matt Shepard trying everything here in the closing stages of this one as he closes the gap within 2 car lengths. Here's Shepard back to the bottom looking for the lead one more time, but can't get it as Timmer continues to hold on down the back straightaway. Alex Payne right there in third as we come by this time by. It'll be 59 laps complete. Shepard right there at 16 laps to go. 4 car lengths separating your top 2. That is 4/10 of a second as they go up into turn number 1 and 2. As that time Shepard didn't have anything on the bottom to try to make the momentum stick down the backstretch. Timmer trying to keep it up on the top side of the racing surface right now. Just trying not to make any mistakes at that EV Energy Pit Stop Convenience Store number 83X machine. 4 top 5s in his last 5 Super Dirt Car Series starts for the defending Brewerton and Fulton Speedway track champion as he leads Matt Shepard by 6/10 of a second as they head down into turn number 3 and 4. Timmer going to adjust his line with the diamond line off turn number 3 and 4 that time. That's going to allow Shepard to draw in as they go into turn number 1 and 2. 14 laps to go for Tim Sears Jr., who's led all 61 laps in this event. But Matt Shepard hot on his heels in the closing stages of this feature. The 9S trying to turn the wick up on the outside lane once again, but Tim Sears Jr. continues using that diamond line to his advantage. If this stays green, traffic may become a factor before this one's all said and done as they work down the back straightaway. Here's Shepard trying to draw even closer on him as that time Timmer just stays right to the bottom of the racetrack. We'll see if the deficit changes. It was 0.6 of a second that time. Shepard knocked it down a little bit as he pulls even with the quarter panel through the middle of the corner. But as Shepard slides up, Timmer gets away down the back straightaway one more time. He'll roll down into turn number 3 and 4. Shepard still trying to give chase. Alex Payne third, Jimmy Phelps fourth, David Hebert rounding out the top 5. As Timmer going to see the back deck of the 25 of Eric Rudolph right in front of him this time off turn number 2. Car slowing down the backstretch. That's the 3RS of Dalton Slack. He'll get off the racing surface as they roll down through turn number 3 and 4. Now Timmer going to be in traffic with 10 laps to go. This time by 65 and 10 remain for Tim Sears Jr., but he's got to try to find his way around Eric Rudolph off turn number 2. Does Timmer have to adjust his line? Rudolph going to pull off the racing surface on the backstretch, but here comes Matt Shepard now closing back in within 2 car lengths. Shepard on the bottom, Sears up top. Sears holds on for the time being as now 4 car lengths between your top 2. Shepard trying to find some momentum in the middle, but that time off turn number 2 wasn't able to get anything as the 83X pulls away down the back straightaway. Timmer goes back to the diamond line. Shepard back up to the top of the racing surface as Timmer stays in front of him. 0.8 of a second separating your top 2 that time as they cross the start-finish line. The 83X will see the back bumper of the 15X machine as they head down the back straightaway as Shepard trying to draw in. We've seen Shepard try the slide job a couple of times on this green flag run. Can he do it again before it's all said and done? 7 laps to go this time as Shepard goes right back all the way to the bottom of the racetrack. But where Tim Sears Jr. is better is off of turn number 2. He keeps that advantage down into turn number 3 and 4, but he's got Justin Stone ahead of him, and then 3 cars battling for position ahead of them. Tim Sears Jr., 6 laps to go this time, but they're 3 wide, not too far ahead of him. He's got to get by Justin Stone as Shepard going to close in. Timmer on the bottom, going to have to try to find his way by the 15X as they head down into turn number 3 and 4. Shepard lurking on the top side, may be able to use Stone as a pick off turn number 4. They'll drag race down the front stretch. It's still Timmer right there, 5 laps to go. Here's Shepard up on the top. Matt Shepard trying to make a move. The 83X slides the 15X car, but here's Shepard with a head of steam down the back straightaway. Matt Shepard noses out ahead. He's going to slide job Tim Sears. Here's Sears on the bottom trying the crossover move on turn number 4, but Matt Shepard is your race leader. The 9S takes the race lead away with 5 laps to go in this one. Now 4 remaining for Super Matt Shepard as they head down the back straightaway. Timmer not out of this one just yet, though, as Shepard has 3 cars right ahead of him. He'll try to stay on the bottom as they drag race down the front straightaway this time by 3 laps to go. Shepard right through the middle. Timmer going right back to the top side. Can Timmer get back to the 9S as they work down the backstretch? They'll head down into turn number 3 and 4. All Matt Shepard right through the middle. Tim Sears Jr. trying to get back to the back bumper with slower traffic ahead of him as they come to the 2 to go sign. 73 and 2 remain for Matt Shepard as Tim Sears Jr. looking to find any momentum he can here in the closing laps of this feature event. Shepard on the backstretch, going to roll down into turn number 3 and 4. He's got Anthony Perego in front of him. They'll work down off turn number 4. This is your Barrett's 1 lap to go as the white flag is out on the speedway. 1 more trip around, but Matt Shepard's got traffic right in front of him. He'll try to find a lane to the top side off turn number 2. Can Sears get back to him down into turn number 3 and 4? Checker flag comes out on the speedway. Sears 1 last shot on the bottom. The winner of King of the North fight number 2 is Super Matt Shepard. Second will be Tim Sears Jr. Alex Payne comes across the line in spot number 3. 4th is Jimmy Phelps, and David Hebert will round out the top 5. As he'll get the King of the North title belt this evening and the spot at Super Dirt Week 52. Up out of the car, the winner of the King of the North finale here at Autodrome Drummond, the 10-time defending Super Dirt Car Series champion, Super Matt Shepard. Shepard going to get off the car in rich flag. I think relief is the biggest way to describe this one as he meets you down there in Victory Lane.
Yes, is what he said, putting the belt on. Gets a kiss from his girlfriend, Jordan, and you finally got one here in the 9th race of the year. I know that might be a short amount of time for a lot of people, but to win it like that, how was that 75-lapper?
Oh, that was awesome. I felt like we haven't been able to do anything right, and even when we're decent, we can't catch a break, and I felt like we had a really good car tonight. We just missed overall fast time, won our heat, and come up here and redrew 8 for the feature, and I'm like, man, when is this going to end? And they dropped a green. I actually lost some positions early in the race and was probably back to 10th or 11th there and started picking up some spots and felt like I had a pretty good race car and, worked our way up through. And I felt like I was faster than Timmer, but, man, he had that clean air and that clean racetrack. And I was hoping we'd get the traffic, and that was going to be what I needed to get by him. And just so thankful everything finally worked out for us. Maybe we got the monkey off our back now. We got the point lead. We stretched it out a little bit tonight. Maybe we got this thing heading in the right direction.